Hello everyone, how are we doing? I've got a very special deck profile for you today. I picked up the new cards from Cyberstorm Access yesterday, and I am right into talking to you about a new meta contending deck, or a potentially meta contending deck in Purley. Purley is an Xyz based deck which uses its main deck monsters to use many materials to overlay your monsters and make potentially an unbeatable boss monster. I'll explain to you what the deck does, its main cards, certain things you can do with it, its main weaknesses, and other things that you can consider for the deck. But without further ado, I will talk to you about it. So, to start off, we are playing 3 copies of the man himself, Purley. Now, to put a little disclaimer out there, I'm not the biggest fan of the artwork of this deck. Yes, I know it's quite nice to look at and it's cool. It's pretty cute, but they're kind of basically just EVs. But that doesn't stop this deck from being a really fun deck. So Purley itself, if it's normal or special summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add a excavated Purley spell or trap to your hand, and the rest of them get placed on the bottom of the deck in any order. And you can reveal a Purley quick play in your hand and use it as material for its respective Xyz monster, which is really good. Purley is a once per turn per copy card, so as long as you're summoning multiples of this little guy here, you can keep using its effects, which is pretty good. Next, let's talk about the new Lily. This card is really good. Both of its effects are hard once per turns, but that doesn't stop it from being a key and integral part of the deck. So on special or normal summon, you can add any Purley card from your deck to your hand except a quick play spell. So you can either add Purley himself, or the continuous spell, or the field spell, or the trap, which is amazing. And you can once per turn target a Purley quick play spell in your graveyard and basically apply the similar effect of the normal Purley. So you can rank up into a respective Xyz monster by using that quick play spell as material. I will talk more about the quick play spells and their respective monsters in a second. Now, onto the quick play spells, and I believe the most important quick play spell of the deck, Purley Delicious Memory. This card allows you to choose a monster on the field and until the end of the next turn if it cannot be destroyed by battle. And after choosing this effect, you can apply one of the following. Following effect. So you can discard a card, and if you do, special summon a level 1 Purley monster from your deck. These are not once per turn, so you can activate these as many times as you like in one turn. As long as you've got monsters summoned from the deck, you can do it. And also, each memory has an effect that is bestowed upon the monster it is material for. So, for example, Delicious Memory, the monster gains 300 attack and defense for each material underneath it. So as you can expect, if you have 2 Delicious Memories, it will have 600 for each material. If you have 3 Delicious Memories, it will have 900 for each material. And with the amount of materials you are getting underneath a monster, this can be really, your Purley monsters can get really big really fast. We're next playing 3 copies of Purley Pretty Memory. So the applied effect on this quick play spell is both players gain 1,000 life points, which means you can activate this card straight off the bat, as well as obviously the special summon for a Purley monster by discarding a card from your hand. Now, an important thing to note is that all of the Purley quick play spells, they discard for effect. So yes, you can take in Dark World cards as a little engine. They will trigger their effects, which is why you're seeing some people playing like a Snow and Brow package. But I'm going to be playing a different package, and I'll be showing you that, and I'll be showing you its sort of how it works. And also, Pretty Memory, if it's under an Xyz monster, you can once per turn send another card you control to the graveyard to attach a opponent's monster as material. This does target, but it is really good. Helps you get a lot of materials onto your monsters. 3 copies of Happy Memory. So Happy Memory allows you to prevent a card on the field from being destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. and if it is underneath a Purley Xyz monster, that monster can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of happy memories attached to it plus 1. So if it's got 1, it can attack 2 times. If it's got 2, it can attack 3 times. And if it's got 3, it can attack 4 times. Pretty self-explanatory. Now for the new memory, this is Sleepy Memory. It has a rather mediocre applied effect, which means the next battle or effect damage you take this turn becomes 0. Summons a Purley from the deck, but also it may have potentially the most insane applied attach effect in the deck, because once per turn during your opponent's standby phase you can draw a card. Doesn't seem that important by itself, but when you have multiples of this under a monster, it counts each one. So you draw a card for 1, you draw 2 cards for 2, you draw 3 cards for 3. Getting 3 of this underneath a monster and then being able to rank it up with the trap is not that consistent, but it's still good to get these under your monsters regardless. Probably the best search card in the deck is My Friend Purley. It's a continuous spell that allows you to pay 500 to reveal 3 Purley cards from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one from you to add to your hand, and then you shuffle the rest back into your deck. If a Purley Xyz leaves the field, because of an opponent's card, even during the damage step, you can add up to 3 Purley quick play spells with different names from your graveyard to your hand. So if your monster gets kaijus or lava golems, you still have some cards in hand for next turn, providing you survive this one. Now we're on 2 copies of Stray Purley Street and 1 copy of Purley Leap. Stray Purley Street is a very nice card to have access to very early on, because on the field your opponent cannot target Purley monsters you control with card effects the turn they're special summoned. And once per turn, if a Purley Xyz you control leaves the field, because on an opponent's card you can special summon any level 1 Purley from your deck or grave. And once per turn during the end phase, you can basically attach any memory from your deck as a Purley Xyz monster, from deck or graveyard. So this allows you to get additional sleepy memories underneath your monster, or an additional memory in your opponent's end phase to help clear whatever board they've set up. Now for my discard package, I'm playing 3 copies of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation and the 1 brick Crystal Beast Cobalt-YGO. So to explain this package, Salvation, you discard this off of a memory, and then you can banish it from the graveyard to search your deck for any field spell and any Crystal Beast monster. So you'll go for the Stray Purley Street and the Cobalt-YGO. If you open this and Cobalt-YGO and a memory, it's not the end of the world, because you can normal summon the Cobalt-YGO and use its effect to place it on the top of the deck, use the memory to discard the Salvation, and then you can still search the Eagle and the field spell even if you open it. I'm going to try this package, and I'm going to try the Dark World package, which is 3 copies of Snow and 1 copy of Brow, because with that package it doesn't give you as much good cards as this one, but it does allow you to keep your hand filled with discard outlet, which I think in the long run, I think going into this coming format is probably optimal, especially with a Rise Heart running around, which this deck really struggles against. But yeah, and then the next 12 cards can be any non-engine of your choosing. However, I would keep it specifically to hand traps if you can, because you want to get the most advantage and value off of your sleepy memory draws in your opponent's standby phase. So it's very integral to actually draw into cards you need and side appropriately going second, because if you're going second, the ideal thing you want to do is be able to OTK your opponent and make sure they've got an attack position monster out on board for you to slam over. But yeah, I've got 3 Ogre, 3 Mourner, so this should be Droll. I just don't have Drolls yet. They're being a pain in the backside. People just aren't posting them out. 3 Ash and 3 Veiler. This is quite catered to like super heavy, especially when I have Droll, but these cards do put in a fair bit of work against a lot of other decks. Now onto the main deck. I think it's important to talk about the win conditions of the deck before anything else. So Noir, if you have 5 or more materials on a rank 2 Purley Xyz, you can use this, put this on top of that monster, and all of its materials get transferred to it. If it has 5 or more materials, it's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. And it has a quick effect if it has a level 1 Purley as material to detach to place a card from your opponent's field or graveyard on the bottom of the deck. It does target, but it is a very powerful quick effect. This card reminds me a lot of a little bit of Masterpiece, somewhat, I think. And then not many people are playing this, but I want to have access to this going second. It's Big Happiness, so not only does it have a lot of attack, so you can overlay it over a rank 2 with 5 materials, just like Noir, and during the main phase you can detach a material from it and negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls until the end of the turn. And if you have a level 1 Purley as material underneath Happiness, your opponent cannot respond to this. So it's a skill drain that your opponent can't respond to if it's got a level 1 Purley. And every time it declares an attack, when it has 5 or more materials, you can burn for 1500. So imagine this with a lot of like delicious and happy memory underneath it. You can swing 15, and then it just burn damage. It has a load of attack, force your opponent's monsters into attack position. It is crazy. I really like this card. I'm playing 2 Plump, and ironically probably the most important rank 2 of the deck. So this is the one that you summon off of Delicious Memory with the Purley, and you can target once per turn up to 2 spell trap cards in either player's graveyard and attach them to this card as material. And it's a quick effect if it has Delicious Memory as material. And all of the rank 2s have an ability to up to thrice per turn, that's 3 times per turn. When you activate a Purley quick play spell, you can attach that card to this as material. And then each of the rank 2s have another applied effect. So, for example, if you attach a quick play spell to Plump using this effect, you can non-targeting banish a monster on the field until the end phase. So this clears your opponents really hard to get rid of monsters, and it stacks materials. It is crazy. If this deck sees meta contention, I can easily see this card getting hit to some degree. It is just absolutely bonkers. This is Beauty. I'm playing 2. This probably, I want to swap this out for something better like an Anima, but I just don't have access to the card at the moment, which is unfortunate. There's always time to tweak and do different things, but that doesn't mean it's a bad card. Beauty, once per turn you can target an effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end phase, and it's a quick effect if it has Pretty Memory as material. So this is the one obviously you summon using Pretty Memory, and its thrice per turn attach effect is you can change the battle position of a monster your opponent controls. This doesn't seem that important on the offset, but if your opponent's trying to wall up, it's important to be able to change a monster's battle position so that you can ensure you have something to attack into and burn and kill with either your Big Happiness or Small Happiness, or just to be able to get the majority of damage and value going second. Because though the deck can set up a towers going first, it's also important to know that it can OTK quite consistently going second, unless you draw the absolute just terrible. This is really good, and it being a walking in perm is just fantastic. It's a fantastic secondary card to pair up with your towers. 1 copy of Happiness, not to be underestimated. So at the end of the damage step, if it battled, you can add a Purley card from your deck to your hand. This isn't once per turn, because why not? And if it has Happy Memory as material after you add, you can halve the attack of a monster on the field. Again, fantastic. Helps cut your opponent's monsters down. And its thrice per turn effect is once you attach a Purley quick play, you can return a spell or trap card your opponent controls to the hand, which is fantastic. Now for some generic cards. We've got Ensemble Blue Robin. This card is really good. It's an additional card that you can pair up with your towers to have like bounces for your opponent's special summon monsters. It's fantastic. 1 copy of Assembled Nightingale. This card is good. It can get some damage in, and especially you can just poke your opponent directly and then Zeus over it, which is really good. Most of the time you want to Zeus over all like your biggest materials, but at the end of the day, it's just a good card to have. This card can be swapped out for anything. I'm just playing Recital Styling in case I decide to side a DD Crow or something. But it can also provide some additional attack buffs to your monsters, and it's a decent rank 1, so why not throw it in? Worst case scenario card. Fuko is just a stally rank 1. Princess Bright, it's a big 1800 body for a rank 1, and you can basically either mill a card by detaching, or if you excavate a spell or trap, you can just add it to your hand, which is fantastic. Considering the amount of spells and traps you play in the deck, and if you side more spells and traps, this can be really useful. One Zeus, I'm getting one of these this week before Cyac is legal, hopefully. So Zeus is very self-explanatory. You have a monster with like 9 materials on field relatively consistently, and if you just Zeus, it's kind of like an FTK. And one Linkaribo. Again, I think the second beauty should probably be an Anima, and the Recital Styling, I might try either Crime or Punishment embodiments, because they're like cool rank 1s that have niche effects. But yeah, thank you for watching this deck profile, guys. This deck wasn't the easiest to pick up, but I just find the deck really fun to play, and despite not being the biggest fan of its aesthetics, I do think this deck in the future is going to go quite far, especially with the support it's getting on the horizon. Anyway, thanks for bearing with me for this video. It's been a bit longer than usual, but this has been Big Al, and I will catch you guys in the next one.